Thank you for checking out Real Talk Personal Finance. Shit's about to get real. Cash Flow King with you today, and in today's episode, we have our December to-do list and our week 1 giveaway winner. Thanks so much for tuning into the show. As always, we really appreciate it. I hope everybody had a very happy Thanksgiving and you had an opportunity to spend time with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, or wherever that might be and with whomever that might be, and that you enjoyed some time away from the daily grind. At this point, at the date of this recording, which is Sunday, December 1st, we are getting into the last month of the year. Holiday season is pretty much in full swing. And there's a lot going on, I think, for everybody. And depending on the industry that you're in, for some folks, this might be a busy time of year. For other folks, things might slow down a little bit. But hopefully, at some point, you will have some time to take a look at some things. And this being a personal finance podcast, coming into the end of the year, I came up with a little list, call it like a top 10 list of items that you may want to take a look at coming into the end of this year and preparing for the beginning of next year. Before we get into that, I want to announce the week 1 giveaway winner. As a reminder, anybody that is a premium subscriber to the Real Talk Personal Finance podcast, which means you're contributing a whopping $3 a month or more. You have access to the exclusive bonus episodes, your own promo codes for bigger discounts on our merch. You get the quarterly e-newsletter. You get Cash Flow King's picks and favorites about credit card rewards and bank bonuses and all that good stuff. And we obviously always do a quarterly $25 e-gift card giveaway. But also at the end of the year, what I like to do is give away a little bit more than that. I don't know that it's a secret to anybody, but unfortunately, this show, just by nature of the fact that we all remain anonymous on here, we can't really do a ton of promotion. So we kind of rely on our premium subscribers to help us carry the show and the cost of running the show and all that good stuff. We don't really make much, if any, money here from our premium subscribers at the Real Talk Personal Finance podcast, but we do appreciate everybody, and we, kind of do this as a hobby and for fun, basically, but it is nice when folks contribute financially to the show. So as our way of giving back, my way of giving back, we like to ramp it up a little bit towards the end of the year and give away an extra $100. So we're going to do that over the next 4 weeks. This is going to be the week 1 of the $25 e-gift card giveaway. This year, I'm going to be doing Amazon. I think that's a lot easier. I can email it to the winners to your email address on file. And so that's what we're going to do. I think I sent this out to at least our premium subscribers. I don't know that I made this announcement on the show publicly on the general episodes. Which, by the way, if you're premium, you do get your own premium episodes as well, especially the quarterly e-newsletter reviews. And sometimes we'll do like Cube Crushers weekly sports betting picks and shit like that, and we'll send that out to premium subscribers. So you get a few extra perks just to say thanks for supporting the show. But we are running, I was jokingly calling it a Black Friday promotion. Of course, we're just past that now. I think tomorrow, or when the day that this releases on Monday, December 2nd, will be Cyber Monday. So we'll call it a Cyber Monday promotion. Anybody that refers anybody else to the Real Talk Personal Finance podcast and they become a premium subscriber, as long as you send their name and email, once that's confirmed, you will get 5 additional entries into the giveaway in addition to your own. So that's kind of a little perk out there. We'll leave that up and running basically through the end of the year because, like I said, I'm going to do this drawing once a week, every week for the next 4 weeks. So the week 1 winner, congratulations to Cameron C., one of our premium subscribers from way back in the day. He's been a longtime supporter. Doesn't write into the show very often. He does listen to the show, unlike some of our folks, I think, that just subscribe just to throw us a couple bucks and make us feel good. But he actually does listen to and enjoys the show. So congratulations to Cameron C. I will be emailing you your Amazon e-gift card for $25. Thanks again for being premium. We really appreciate it. All right. So let's jump into today's show. This shouldn't be too long of a show. I got to kind of squeeze this in here before my wife and daughter get home. So, for anybody that has children out there, you know that when you have some time to do something, you have to be very efficient and get shit done. So at the same time, your time frames can be somewhat compressed and limited. So there will be times where we can do really, really long shows and other times where we may not be able to in the interest of time, and today's kind of one of those days. But I want to go through the top 10 items that I kind of came up with and just some things to put on the radar. These are in no particular order. They're going to kind of be all over the place, so some of them may apply to you, some of them may not apply to you, but you might have somebody in your life, maybe you had a conversation over Thanksgiving with a family member or a friend, and you're like, you know what, we talked about this, or maybe they should be thinking about that. Feel free to send them the show or forward this to them if it's of interest, or you think it would be of interest to them, and we'll kind of go through these different items. I'm sure there's things that I'm going to be missing or leaving out. This is not intended to be an exhaustive list. This is just kind of a quick, hey, let's put together 10 things people should be thinking about. Part of this stemmed from a quick ChatGPT search. Some of this stemmed from things that I'm doing. Some of this stemmed from things that I will be doing as the month progresses. So I kind of put all that in a blender and came up with 10. The first one, and I actually updated this morning for us after a conversation with my wife, is setting up automatic or automated transfers. Now, you may already have automated transfers set up, but I think coming into the end of the year, going into the new year, is a really good time to take a look at what you're doing. So, for example, if you are saving a certain amount of money every month or every paycheck, if you are investing, say, in a taxable brokerage account, a certain amount of money every month or every paycheck, or whatever the case might be, if you have automatic transfers set up, this is a good time to evaluate those. If you don't have automated transfers set up for different things, this is a good time to consider doing that. And so everybody has different goals. I know we had a conversation this morning, and we've changed things. We've had some big life changes and things like that. And, we bought a rental this year. And so there were some competing and conflicting priorities. And so some stuff got shifted around a little bit. And it's time to kind of get back to basics and put back into place some things that we had in place at one time. So we went ahead and reestablished some automated transfers to kick in January. So, I don't want to get too personal, but in our particular case, we did this in two different areas. Number one, for a savings transfer. So you want to transfer X number of dollars per month into a high yield savings account. And then the second one was for taxable brokerage account. We want to send X number of dollars or Y number of dollars per month into the taxable brokerage account and getting that back in an automated fashion. So that's number one, automated transfers, whatever that looks like for you. That could be a very small amount of money if you've never done it, or you're, paycheck to paycheck kind of, or if you're already doing it and you want to really ramp things up, it's a great time to consider putting that into place to take effect in January. This is a good time to think about it, because if we don't do it in December, and we wait until January, all of a sudden it's a new year. Everybody knows how that goes, and things get busy, and the next thing you know, it's summertime and you've never updated or done anything. So that would be number one. Number two, along the same lines, 401k contributions. So you want to evaluate your 401k or similar retirement plan contributions and make sure that your contribution percentages are in line with what you want. Obviously, first and foremost, if you work for an employer that offers a company match, you obviously want to make sure you're at least getting the company match. But like, for example, I would toggle my contributions at different points throughout the year. So at some points, and I'm not going to do that this year, but I have in the past, when I'm trying to bulk up some cash to buy a rental, I would take my contributions down to basically the minimum to get the full company match, stack up a little bit of cash for that rental. Once I had that ready to go, then I would ramp up my 401k contributions later in the year. There were times where I know I'm going to have, a good month coming up and I just want to be done with it for the year and max it out. I would ramp them up to, I think, like 50% and just knock it out and be done for anything that was left. This past year, what I'll probably do kind of going forward is trying to smooth it out a little bit. So I kind of pick a percentage that works and, that's reasonable, that will take, a good portion of the year to max out and then be done. I think this year I was maxed out in August, but I also had a really good year this year. Whatever the number is that you guys, or percentages that you guys want to do, just make sure you keep that in mind. So for example, if I did what I described, like let's say I ramped it up to 50% or something crazy at the end just to get it maxed out before year end, and then I forgot to change that back down, say in January when I'm trying to stack cash for a rental, for example, Well, all of a sudden now, that might not be where I need it to be. So for some of you, you might keep it exactly the same, and this is a non-issue. For others, you may have some type of auto escalation feature in your retirement plan at work. So if you're putting in a certain percentage, you might be able to set it up where you can bump it by 1 or 2% or whatever you'd like every single year, for example. That might already be automated for you. But if it's not, or you're not sure what your contributions are, or you know what they are, and you think you can do a little bit more, and you want to put a little bit more away for next year, then again, on the same lines of automating transfers for other types of accounts, you might want to take a look at your 401k contributions or similar to make sure those are where you want them to be. So that's number 2, 401k contributions. Number 3, people do this at different frequencies, but one thing to look at, kind of an over-encompassing topic, would be portfolio rebalancing. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this, but I know, like, for example, the way I do it with the 401k plan is I have it set up and automated to rebalance automatically every quarter, so I never have to think about it. You may or may not have the ability to do that on, your plans. You may have to go in and do it manually. You may be in an advisory services type of a program where you're paying a fee to have your portfolio managed, and that's done automatically for you, which is great because a lot of people don't do this. But taking a look at portfolio rebalancing, both for retirement accounts, like I kind of just described, but also for, along the same lines, not necessarily, I guess you could say this is rebalancing, but for non-retirement accounts. So if you have taxable brokerage accounts and you want to do some tax loss harvesting in there, and if you're not familiar with that, feel free to look it up. I don't have time to go into all that right now. There's also something out there called tax gain harvesting, which is something that is not talked about as often, where it's possible you do have some gains. Maybe you're going to be in a situation, depending on your income, where you wouldn't have to pay capital gains tax, and you could potentially realize those gains at 0%. That's called tax gain harvesting. So there's some different things, and if guys are interested and gals are interested, email the show, and we can always do maybe an episode on tax gain or tax loss harvesting. We'll keep it fairly general, but if you want me to go a little bit deeper on that, I can. So that would be number 3, portfolio rebalancing / gain loss harvesting for the taxable accounts. Number 4, for those of you that are RMD age, for required minimum distributions, you're probably not listening to a podcast or this show. But if you are, or you know somebody that is, that's something to make sure that you have already established and hopefully are taking out by December 31st of this year, assuming it's not your first RMD year. These are required minimum distributions. These are for most types of pre-tax accounts. Of course, there's going to be exceptions to this. The rules have changed over time with regard to the age at which someone must generally begin required minimum distribution. So way back in the day, it was 70 and a half, then it went to 72. Now it's 73 for a lot of folks, and for others, it'll be as late as age 75 going forward. So anyway, if this applies to you or you're not sure, this is a great time to check in with that. You don't want to wait until right before Christmas, for example, to submit RMD information, because a lot of companies will have cutoff times for processing and they may not be able to get it done. And it used to be the penalty for a missed RMD was 50%. That's since gone down to 25%. In some cases, you can, attempt to request a waiver through your tax person, and the IRS might waive that. But it's not something that you want to fuck with if you can help it. So if you or anybody you know is of RMD age, call it early to mid 70s, then this is something that you want to check on if you don't have these automated. And if you don't have these automated, that's something I would strongly encourage you to consider. Depending on your situation, the majority of my clients, we automate these for them, and we let them choose the frequency that they want to take it out. There are certain clients, for different reasons, if we have kind of a multiple account situation of the same plan type, for example, IRAs, where there might be strategic and planning related reasons to not automate them. I do have some of those folks where we work through that manually every year. But anyway, RMDs is something to think about if you've not thought about it and you are of, or have family or somebody that is of RMD age. Make sure you get those set up. Similarly, if you are 70 and a half or older, so technically under the new rules, even if you're not RMD age, but you're at least age 70 and a half, which used to be the old school way back in the day, RMD age, and you're looking to make charitable contributions, there's a bunch of different ways to do this. So again, this is not advice. Check with your own professional. But if you have traditional IRA accounts, you can do something called a QCD, which is a qualified charitable distribution. That has to be done on a traditional IRA. It cannot be done, for example, on a 401k plan. Although, presumably you could roll that over into an IRA and do that. But the money basically goes from the retirement account directly to the charity, and therefore you're not paying taxes on the distribution. We do have some clients that will do this with their RMDs, whether it's for the full amount or the partial amount, or in some cases you can do even more than the RMD amount. There is a limit. I can't remember off the top of my head. I want to say it's around $100,000 a year now, something like that, indexed for inflation for QCDs on traditional IRAs, but that's something to consider. There's also, we don't have time to get into it today, donor advised funds and other things out there that you can look at if you are not 70 and a half or older and you're charitably inclined. There's different types of trusts that can be set up out there, again, beyond the scope of today's show, but just something to bring up and think about. The next one, and I told you these topics were going to be all over the place, number 6 here, would be partial Roth conversions. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe you had a change in positions. Maybe you had a drop in your income, but you still have some savings and you have some pre-tax retirement assets that you would like to convert to Roth in a year where your income could be artificially low. This would be a great time to evaluate that and see, especially towards the end of the year. You have a pretty good idea of where your income is going to be for the year. You have a pretty good idea of where your account values are. You have a pretty good idea of how much cash you have set aside to take care of the taxes on a partial Roth conversion, for example, assuming it's actually going to, well, it's taxable, but assuming you're actually going to owe anything on it, again, beyond the scope of right now. But something to consider if you had a year where your income was artificially low would be partial Roth conversions, and it would be a good time to take a look at that. Let's see. Number 7, reviewing what I like to call your cash flow statement, or some people like to call it a budget. I hate the word budget, but reviewing kind of your inflows and outflows to see what that looks like, where those things are at. We clean up a Google sheet every year. We add in certain categories, we take out other categories. I've gotten a lot more casual in my meetings. I used to have dry cleaning and alterations as a line item on our cash flow statement. That's going to come off for 2025. I think I went to the dry cleaners once this year. So, just something to keep in mind is, taking a look at what that looks like for you, cleaning it up, categorizing it, making it nice and fresh for 2025. Anybody that's premium, if you want, I'll wipe everything out, but if you want something similar, I can send you the template pretty much that we use, which was from Vertex 42, VERTEX42.com. And we just kind of cleaned it up a little bit and made it our own. So if anyone's interested in that and you haven't already written the show, feel free to shoot an email, realtalkpersonalfinance@gmail.com. And if you're premium, I can go ahead and clean it up and send you a copy if you need it. Let's see, 3, 6, 7. Number 8, if you have any funds in a flexible spending account, an FSA, that's one of those use it or lose it type of accounts, typically you want to look at possibly finding a reason to use those funds for qualified expenses. Number, I can't count right now, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Insurance coverages. This could be auto insurance. This could be homeowners insurance. This could be life insurance. This could be any type of insurance that you have. Maybe it's a good time for you to sit down and evaluate. Do you have life insurance? Do you still need life insurance? Do you have enough life insurance? Do you have the right type of life insurance? How about your auto coverages? Are they comprehensive enough for what you need? What about your deductible? Could you afford to have a higher deductible and save some money on premiums? When's the last time you shopped it out with another company? Could you get a better deal out there, right? If you have the time, wouldn't be a bad idea to lump that in and take a look at insurance coverages. There's all these fucking commercials on TV, especially when football's on, about, what is it? I think it's Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and Andy Reid, the coach there, and I think they have a new, whatever the black dude's name is. It used to be, there was another white dude that was Jake from State Farm. Now it's the other dude that's Jake from State Farm. And they have the whole Patrick Mahomes on there, the Bundlerooski or whatever, And anyway, then there's the other commercial that's kind of fun, which is the one where they're all kind of like dancing. And it says bundle and save. And it's bundle A, save, bundle A, and save. So anyway, that just I guess that's good marketing because it just beat it into my head like, hey, I should probably include this on the list for insurance coverages. So if you're able to bundle your coverages and potentially save some money, that's something else to to consider there. So that would be number 9. And then finally, number 10, I don't know if we'll do a separate show on this or not. I think I've mentioned this on previous shows. There's a conference that I went to a couple times in years past that was fantastic on goal setting. We could do probably a whole show on it, but it's a good time to really reflect on the year and take a look at your goals heading into 2025. And a lot of those goals, if you decide to do that, might actually kind of help you with some of these automated transfers. So for example, if you have certain financial goals, that might help dictate what you're doing for saving and investing transfers, might help and dictate what you're doing for 401k contributions and so on. So, or at least for the financial part of it, you might have some other goals that are health related or family related or whatever the case might be, and that's fantastic. But taking some time to really sit down and write out goals for the next year. You know, my wife and I started to talk about this a little bit this morning, and to my surprise, she had already come up with a couple of personal goals for her, and I said, well, what about family goals? And so we started talking a little bit about family goals, and so something we need to kind of fine tune, but it's a great time of year to really start to put some of these things down on paper. I don't like to use, the whole New Year's resolution thing because, as we all know, most of the time those go completely out the window. But if you can set, as a lot of people call them SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound, all the better as far as that goes. And again, we could probably do a whole show on that, but we'll leave that there for now. So again, quick recap. Number 1, automated transfers. Number 2, 401k contributions or similar retirement plan contributions. Number 3, portfolio rebalancing, as well as tax gain and loss harvesting for taxable accounts. Number 4, required minimum distributions or RMDs. Number 5, qualified charitable distributions or QCDs. Again, those last 2 may or may not apply depending on your age. Number 6, partial Roth conversions. Number 7, reviewing your cash flow statement and budget. Number 8, flexible spending account funds and other similar types of accounts that are use it or lose it. Number 9, shopping out and bundling your insurance coverages. And number 10, taking some time to sit down and write out your goals for 2025. So I hope that was helpful. Congrats again to Cameron C. on being the week 1 winner for the $25 Amazon e-gift card. Thanks again for being premium.
Premium!
We appreciate you. And we will be back next week with another winner for week 2. And until then, we will see you in the next episode.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.